Whenever you're ready, let me know.
Autofocus.
Ready?
We are ready to go.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw.
Here.
Commissioner Wire.
Here.
Commissioner Thill.
Here.
Commissioner Waldner.
For the last time here.
Mayor Denner.
Here. We have the agenda in front of us. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So approved.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Under appearances acknowledgements, do I have a motion to acknowledge the 2020 annual report?
So move.
Second.
Did you have anything you wanted to say on that?
No, you each have a copy of the annual report. There's also one up on the website for the press. If you have any questions, just let me know. Obviously, you haven't had a chance to review it yet. So the front of your annual reports are all letters written by each of the department heads as to what their year looked like with COVID-19. And then the back piece of it, which is the tab that you have, that goes into the compiled financials by our auditor. We do have our annual audit scheduled for the 24th of May, so it's possible we'll have some adjustments to that. But
Thank you.
Looks really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Did you need a copy of that, Mr. James?
I have one in my office.
I'll get it from you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any further comments or discussion on the 2020 annual report? Not hearing any. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Move down into consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So
Second.
Any comments or discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. We'll move down into unfinished business. Item number 1, provide direction to staff regarding 2021 opening of Madison Aquatic Center. Brad, did you want to talk about this?
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission. Been working with Muth Electric again on getting some more things done for the insurance company. Got those completed this week, and then solicited a proposal for the electrical engineering to redo the electrical system inside of the building, and you have that. I believe all of you have a copy of that for consideration tonight. It's a total of 6, but this is both the design and administration part of it, and then construction phase is $16,700 total fee. And this is what the firm has already done the investigation, gave us the original analysis of the system and recommended full replacement.
Does this include the boiler?
This does not.
So we'll have to
Put a separate.
we have to go out for a bid for a boiler?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about bid for cleaning the pipes and that?
And that'll have to be separate also.
Okay.
And that was something that we haven't gotten an agreement with the insurance company on that particular item yet. The two things we're on agreement with right now is the boiler. Tentatively, they don't have a dollar amount assigned to that yet. And then the electrical, which we do have a dollar amount assigned.
So the next step after this, Brad, is to go out for bid?
Yes, once they complete the plans and specifications, then we would come in here and request authorization to go for bids, and we'd advertise, and then open bids, and then hopefully award bids.
Okay. I see there's a couple things on here. Replacement of the existing dry type transformer with new.
I had that highlighted. That's something that we hadn't necessarily anticipated. We thought we could clean those contactors, and that was what was in the insurance report. There was the contactors at the very bottom of it. There was some corrosion on that. The rest of it appeared to be in good shape. We considered just cleaning that one up. So that's something I'll have to take up with him and see if we can get that eliminated from the scope.
Is this transformer inside the building?
It's the one that was above our heads.
Oh,
when you're standing,
okay.
you know,
Yep. Okay.
had the cover off of it. It's a dry transformer. It takes it from the 277/480 down to the 122/08.
The exterior lighting upgrade, is that something that needs to be done now before? Or could that be done after the pool is closed so we,
It certainly can be done after the pool's closed, or, after the end of the year. That's something that wasn't necessarily, it talks about both interior and exterior. I'm not sure how much the exterior we're gonna do. We did, consider replacing all of the lighting inside with LEDs. It's got the T8 bulbs, 4-foot, 2-element T8 bulbs with a metal mesh around it so it can't be broken. Those we'd probably go back after further review. I'd probably go back with the sharp ones like we've got in the bathrooms at the ball fields and that are resistant to vapor and all that stuff. So we'd have a little more, I think, resilient lighting in there.
But this bid essentially encompasses everything, correct?
It would be everything, and we can trim it down a little if we need to.
Well, I would prefer, like I've said all along, if we're gonna fix it, we're gonna fix it right. And if that means we need to upgrade the lighting, then we upgrade the lighting. It's part of
Yeah.
it, so. It's far more efficient in the end.
Yes, everything we're gonna do, especially like the VFD controllers on the electric motors, that, in my mind, outside of saving us thousands of dollars on the initial install from going from a motor control center to the VFDs, just the initial install was gonna be, I think, $30,000 or $40,000 cheaper. Operationally, it's gonna save us thousands of dollars a year. And there's some other things that could possibly be done there. I know last meeting I said I thought that we found out that there's a ventilation system that we, was available but wasn't being used, and that had some makeup air on it. Well, what that is there's actually there's a fan and then a makeup air hood on there that are controlled inside of a panel inside the office. And you can open that up, but that's only to let that fan and the hood open up, let the air in to evacuate the warm air in the summertime. It's not makeup air for the chemical room. So it's still, the chemical room still does not have a makeup air situation in it. So I was, after a little more investigation, talking with some of the people that have been in there and seen it, how, worked on the operation side of it, said that that's how that operated. So there still isn't anything, so we still have to do something in the long run to get makeup air for the chemical rooms.
Have we got that quote from Amer?
I have not gotten anything from anybody yet.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have to, David, can we act on any of this, or do we have to wait till next week to do anything with it?
What do we have before us? Do we have,
Well, it's a proposed bid for
The design work.
is it the bid? Or are we asking to hire an engineer to?
Hire an engineer.
You can hire the engineer tonight with a motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion, hire PE Group as the engineer to assist with us with the pool.
I'll second.
Any further comments or discussion?
Down about 10 seconds.
Not hearing any. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brett.
thanks, Brad.
Unfinished business, item 2, update to commission on the CC operating budget.
I believe that there might have been a packet there for you guys to take a view. Update, this breaks it down, maybe gives you a little better idea of what we've done here in the past year. It's not like we haven't made changes and tried to curb this COVID situation. We were closed there for 6 weeks. It took quite a bit of convincing to try to get us back up and running in 6 weeks too. With that 6 weeks, there's a tremendous cost when you close for that long. There's plenty of other exercise facilities out there that have been closed a lot longer than 6 weeks and are struggling a lot worse than we are right now. So it was a key point by 6 weeks being able to open back up. I think that made a huge difference, especially with how much stuff we did in that 6 weeks to actually get us back up and running. Basically staying closed, we're not going to make any revenue from that. If you can see it, the revenue from memberships, of course, went down from 2019, and you can even look back further from 2019. It was usually steady at that 457. In 2020, we're at that 344, and about right now, quarterly, we're at that 353. Of course, our hope is people start to come back a little more now with things going on in the world. Our daily admissions, you can still see, even in that year, it's gone down, but we're on the uptick. Some of that has to do with people not ready to commit to a full year and just coming in to just use classes in a day pass. Health assessments, which would be our personal training, you can see it took a pretty big hit also. That comes a lot to do with memberships too, to have that membership to do that personal training. We did make some changes there where Derek is basically personal training almost 7 to 8 hours a day of just personal training. Birthdays, of course, we had to refund some of our birthdays. And of course, with COVID, a lot of people don't want to come back and use birthdays, but we are in an increase where we can see that there's a steady increase of people coming back for that. Our ASP, our after-school program, which is a service we provide, we were at a nice steady at 66 back from 2019 and back. Of course, 2020 we had to close for a month and a half of ASP. It's a pretty big lost revenue. It's one of our bigger revenues and services we provide. Right now we're on a pretty good steady pace of increasing that, and then taking over the summer program, we'll see even a bigger increase of revenue. Hopefully we want to get to about that 70 kid range. Even having leagues and recreation, even through COVID, if you look back at the numbers, our recreation and leagues were actually increased in revenue from the years past while during COVID. The contribution comes down to was the contribution from DSU into the city was to add the assistant director and youth service coordinator, which is for the after-school program. And the assistant director was there to help with the front desk and other duties. That's what that transfer stuff was for. Somewhere in that thing, we also took on the recreation and intramural math. Obviously, we added the $20,000 of the contract from DSU from the intramurals, but it stayed the same for the transfer for coming in from the city side. So we've worked around that quite well. The expenses, when it comes down to it, we basically highlighted the plant equipment. In 2020, we weren't expecting a $33,000 fire alarm that wasn't working, and we needed it repaired. Obviously, we need a fire alarm to operate. And then the utilities this year, where we had a February bill due to critical day use for 5 days of $33,000, was another one of those where we weren't expecting to take that kind of hit. Other than that,
Hey, Nick?
yeah.
What's a critical day?
That's what the bill was considered, that February cold spell week, that usually our utilities run about 5,000 for electric, maybe 3,000 for gas. They were charging us about 6,000 a day for gas. So that's, it was a pretty big bill. I was a little shocked by that, didn't know they could do that. Yeah. So yeah, that was a big hit. But also our expenses, we still did we still offered fitness events. Sometimes we were even a little worried about doing fitness events, but we did have a handful of community members and just community people that would ask us to do events. Of course, with our precautions, we could still maintain some. We did a zombie run that ended up with 80 participants, a colored run that ended up with 75 people, and a try that ended up with 85 people. So it's there. I mean, that's not a big money maker. Of course, a big money maker to survive is memberships and after school program and health assessments. The other one that you would see is the corporate wellness. There was a report there. From the year of corporate wellness, we did lose 131 memberships. That's a pretty big hit that we weren't expecting. It can tell you the percentages there if you look at the report. During the COVID part, that's where we had some directions of changing our corporate wellness. Instead of just giving a discount to every business out there, we would actually have a corporate wellness / sponsorship where they would actually sponsor the membership and help us subsidize the discount that we're giving them. I think that is probably one of our biggest turnarounds if we can get the businesses on board to help that start up with our revenue. Moving forward, the operating budget of the CCA board and we've discussed most of our losses, of course, was through memberships and our health assessments. We had almost 1,300 members lost during that March 20th to the 21st. During the period, we had also that 131 memberships lost through our corporate wellness. Our CC marketing team, we've been trying to come up with other ideas to how to retain and bring back returning and new members. We created a survey that we're going to put out there to reach out to those people that left during that year to see what we could do to try to get them back. Are they ready to come back? Is it COVID that is still keeping them away? That's probably the toughest choice that we have. Our marketing team is working on redeveloping our website just to help our app. If you've ever jumped on our website, it's not the greatest website. It's a little outdated, so we're trying to make it a little better user-friendly. Like I've mentioned in the past, we are going to try to rechange that corporate wellness and corporate sponsorship package to increase our revenue. But a big thing, the way we have our organization structured moving forward, we're looking to grow that ASP. Once we can get that recreation coordinator back, we can, of course, then increase our recreation revenue again and help with the intramural, which was a phenomenal increase of what Nick did before he left in February. We have increased the birthday party fees in 2020. We also increased our after-school program in the fall and spring, and we will probably increase our memberships sometime in the fall, anywhere from that 1.5 to 3% range. So far, we still haven't hired a rec coordinator since February, and we stopped, of course, all constructions. And of course, we're wary of what equipment we're purchasing to replace a treadmill or anything. Staff will, of course, continue to apply for grants to help strengthen our department. We did apply for a 21st Century grant here for the after-school program. Hopefully we get that. We'll know here in the mid-May. It's a 5-year, $250,000 grant per year.
Is that just after school, or
Just
can
after
we use
school.
it for the summer program?
Yeah, summer program, after-school program.
And that's the only thing we can use it for?
Correct. You can only use it for that.
And we will find out
Mid-May.
Mid-May.
Yep.
So that should help some of the expenses.
If we get the grant, yes, that would be
Okay?
a boost. We did also discuss, of course, cutting things. The only problem is when you start cutting services away, would you be taking away memberships then too, if you're not providing that service? And of course, the service to the community. And that's where our board and I have discussed, and that's where we look to see where things can be headed. Questions?
What is the 3-question survey you're putting out?
Basically, why you left, when you will be returned, or why would you want to return? And then the other question, I don't know what the question off my head is. I don't have that in front of me.
And I think the last time you were here, so you said we lost about 400, now we're up to 1,300 members lost?
Yeah, 1,300 members lost. That's members, not memberships.
Because some of those are family, correct?
Right. It's 1,300 members. It doesn't break it down into, it doesn't break it down to families, individuals.
What would that number be?
That takes,
Memberships.
that would take quite a bit of manually going to check and clicking on every single person our report doesn't pull back. The CSI is trying to come up with a query to help pull that for us here in the last couple of weeks.
From a revenue standpoint, it's somewhere around 63% of what they had the prior year.
Down.
No, it's at about
At
63% off.
63% off. I think the biggest thing, Nick, I went through the list of members that did not renew, and there's some people on there that I struggle with understanding why they would leave the CC. You know, I have a membership, I haven't stepped foot in the community center in 12 months. I don't feel I need to be there. I probably should be there, hypothetically, but I also feel like it's my duty as a community member to help that place stay open. And as I look through that list of people that are on there, I think, boy, there's a lot of people that really I'm surprised that are not members. And I think the biggest question I still would like answered is what's the root cause of why? Why are they leaving? Why are 1,300 people not back in the community center? And I can't, in the list I looked at, not every one of them are COVID related. No way. I would be shocked if they were. And I think that's what I hope we can pull out of this when it's all said and done is what's the root cause and how do we get it fixed? Because I know that the CC isn't there to make money, and I know it's probably going to operate in the red a little bit, and that's just a part of having a community-based operation like that. It's important. It's good for our community. It's great for our kids. And I'll be interested when we get to the end line of what's the root cause of why. I think that's what's most important to me. I guess my next question for you is, how are we going to fund the rec coordinator?
Well, it's still in there to fund the rec coordinator.
Okay.
What you probably don't see is, so in 2020, we hired, in December 2019, we hired the assistant director.
Yep.
And that was then gonna have CC acquired by itself. Assistant director was gonna then help with capital campaign, Bay Village membership drive. And that's when we finally started to roll on this. And then in February 2020, we then hired our youth service coordinator. There was also opening in for the rec position, which was a shared position at the time. Then COVID hit, and then we basically put a pause on that. When it comes to numbers, when you break down that one, and if you just say rec intramural special events for recreation would come to that. With the contract that DSU pulling in there, to get the financial numbers, with that revenue that we pull in from the rec, that's going to basically wash the rec coordinator. With the amount of revenue that he brought in for the fall and for the winter time, it increased. If you go back from the rec beforehand, was a tremendous increase from there. That's how.
Okay. I know just because it's funded doesn't necessarily mean we can afford it.
Right.
That's my thing right now. Obviously, I would like us to maybe try to restructure and do some reorganization to try and maybe figure out how do we get that without having to hire somebody right now.
Another hard part would be for the, if you give it back to the city, my question then would be, how would you fund that? I mean, if it came to us from the city and you funded it, how would it be funded if it goes back?
Yeah, and that I don't know how to answer for you at the moment. I'm just looking at numbers, and unfortunately, in my world, in the finance world, that's what I do. In this side of it, I'm looking at if I don't have enough incoming and my outgoing's far more than my incoming, we got to figure out how to get that to balance and equalize.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to find a way. Every single department has stepped back and not done something or not hired somebody. We haven't hired people. You're gonna, I mean,
We cut finance all this down.
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah, you obviously lost all these members. You're gonna find a way to do it. That's all there is to it.
Or get them
I
all to
mean,
come back.
call it the cliche of do more with less, whatever you want, but
Have we hired someone new for the front desk in the past couple weeks, month?
Front desk is in,
Have we hired anybody?
most of our front desk are part-time workers.
Okay, so we haven't hired anybody here in the last month.
No, the front desk was always supervised by our assistant director. Prior to that, we actually had a person that was on benefit for the front desk. When we made that structure change, we got rid of that person to let the assistant director cover that position. That's how we could also fund the assistant director at that time 2 years ago.
And Nick, I don't want you to feel like we're coming at you, because that's not, I mean, we just have to look at the long range of this, that it's gonna be quite an expense for the city to kind of help get through this. And I know COVID is happened and life goes on, but we gotta figure out how to get through it together, okay? And like I've expressed 2 weeks ago, I'm willing to help you with whatever, okay? I don't operate on that board, but I'm sure willing to help you from the finance side if you want some help, okay?
I'm wondering what other innovative ideas have you done over the last year?
Besides offering programs still, we tried to do classes outside even, prior to everything, we tried to get people back. We've had some people do online personal training, but not a whole lot. Other than that, try to still provide programs where we did see an increase of revenue in recreation stuff by offering that. We probably don't see is we had 80 people come through youth volleyball, K through 5, and 80 people come through youth soccer in the winter months, indoors, playing. So, yeah, that's not a big moneymaker. The big moneymaker for us is memberships, and to provide those services, that's what brings, I believe, our families back.
What do you have planned to bring your membership, try to get them to come back?
Part of that comes down to the corporate wellness part, being able to get out there to our corporate businesses to see if they're willing to do the sponsorship corporate. I figured if we can even get the top tier of 20 businesses, that's an extra $60,000 for sponsorship that we haven't had before. That's a big increase for our revenue to be able to then be able to still run recreation programming, ASP, and keep everything at a lower price. But at the same time, we've already looked at increasing prices in certain areas, which probably should be looked at per year. Cost of living goes up every year. We gotta look at memberships going up every year as a percent, and ASP.
I think if we go through this, Nick, I think about once a month, it would be nice to have you come in and just kind of keep us up to date. And then you coordinate your getting your bills paid with Sonia for now, but I think if we can stay with you on a kind of month-to-month basis to help you get through it.
Certainly.
Okay.
And also, where's DSU at in all this? I mean, obviously they're 40% got 40% in the game. I just curious.
We will have a discussion with them on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We will have a discussion with them on Wednesday.
Do I need to make a motion for that, or do we just ask them to come back once a month?
Okay, anything else for the CC operating budget?
Thank you, Nick.
Yep, thank you.
Danny was trying to talk.
Oh, shoot.
Oh.
Start with this one?
He's up in the top left corner.
Yep, Whammo. You had it.
Here, I'll just put him on speakerphone. Can you hear me?
No, let me,
You can talk.
now can you hear me?
I can hear you on my phone. Just talk.
Two things real quick. Mary, you asked about the innovative thing. Nick talked about membership is really driving our finances.
What we've also started doing is Saturday we held in conjunction with the community center Madison Bike Safety Day. We had probably 100, families, family members total up visiting, talked about memberships at the community center. At the same time, we're using the grounds to provide the safety. The police, Madison Police Department was present, the county sheriff was present, and Madison Regional Health. We had some help from the DSU. So that's also something that's a little different in its entirety. Every year that Madison has had a bike safety day, it has not been a community center. So I think this is a great partnership between the city and the community center and us bicyclists to get safety information out to our families and also get them familiar with the community center. Again, that's something innovative. Doesn't really cost the community center much except for the volunteers that we had out there. But that's all I wanted to add in is we are trying to think outside the box and not just remain inside continue to work on the memberships. Thank you for your time and appreciate the input and I look forward to working with you guys.
Thanks, Danny.
Thanks, Danny. Okay, we'll move down into the oath of office, for Jeremiah Corbin and Kelly Didball.
No, I'm all.
Front and center, big shooter.
Thanks for your service. Good luck.
Yeah.
Thanks for your service.
There's going to be cake afterwards if you want to stick around.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
for the City of Madison, Lake County, to the best of my ability.
for the City of Madison, Lake County, to the best of my ability.
I'm taking off. You're not taking off, are you? No. Okay.
I wanted that spot.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
for the City of Madison, Lake County,
for the City of Madison, Lake County,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. I probably could have done that last part, to be honest.
I took a breath. It wasn't your fault. It was
No,
mine.
no.
Here is your.
That is fancy. Thank you.
Bring that right.
Yes, you are.
I do solemnly swear again,
Yeah.
a repeat,
You want this shirt?
Great. All right. Move down into new business. Item number 1, do I have a motion to adopt the resolution number 2021-11, powers and duties of mayor and commissioners?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Is this this one?
So the motion dies, lack of a second. We put it on for next week, or what do we do?
Yeah, we've got a bit of a procedural conundrum here. If there's a second, we have to vote on the motion, on the resolution as is. If the vote, if the vote after the second failed, there can be discussion and a motion to amend the resolution, if you're all still with me. But if this dies tonight for a lack of a second, then it will have to be put back on the agenda for next week. Follow?
How does the city operate if we don't pass this?
For 1 week, there are no commissioners in charge of a department.
Sounds like
The city
chaos.
operates and the commission votes, but there is no specific commissioner for a department head for 1 week, for sure.
Chaos.
I'm not a commissioner, I don't vote, but I would suggest for procedural purposes that there's a second to this motion, no matter how the vote goes, because then it can be amended.
Second. Okay.
You gotta be in charge of something.
So you're saying there has to be a vote and then you can amend?
So now that there's been a second, there has to be a vote on the resolution as is.
Fascinating. Thank you.
Is there any questions?
Because the motion and the second is to approve the resolution as is. So
Well,
the vote has to happen now as the resolution is. But if that resolution were to fail, the commissioners can make additional motions to amend this. But you have to vote on it as is now, if there's a second. Is everybody staying with me? You've got to vote on it as drafted.
So we got a motion by Mr. Corbin and a second by Adam Shaw on the resolution as it stands. Is there any comments or discussion?
Did you pull this together, Marshall?
That is my job, yep.
Did you talk to anybody?
Nope.
Why is that? Isn't that your job?
Not to, I'm supposed to appoint, and you guys are supposed to vote on it.
I see.
South Dakota law is clear that the assignment of duties of each respective area to a commissioner is to be made by a majority vote of all the commissioners. So the mayor can put it forth, but you as the commission end up having to approve this in the form that you so choose.
Is there any other comments or discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Want to take a roll call vote?
Yep. Commissioner Shaw,
No.
Commissioner Dibdall,
Nay.
Commissioner Wire,
Nay.
Commissioner Corbin,
Nay?
Mayor Denner.
Aye.
Okay. Now, this topic's been on the agenda, it's on the agenda. If there's further motions, they can be held now.
Well, I took the liberty of communicating with some commissioners because we weren't getting any information from you. And I have some language for a resolution here. I'll pass it out.
My phone's always open to you, Jeremiah. Not reach out to me.
Well, you were the one putting the ordinance together. You should have reached, resolution together. You should have reached out. We'll learn this over time, Marshall. So I put a bullet together of what our roles would be, and the bullets are additional responsibilities, and then it's written in the ordinance, or the resolution, excuse me, resolution. So I guess if anyone has any questions. Would you like me to read it?
I do have a couple concerns here. With the way you're proposing it now, we do have a couple conflicts of interest, such as Jeremiah Corbin in Public Works.
I don't see a conflict.
A father-in-law that works in that department.
We had a commissioner oversee his daughter for several years, and you were the mayor when that happened.
No, it wasn't. I tried changing
But
it
you didn't.
because I was outvoted.
Okay.
Okay? I did change it. If you want to go back in the records and find out, I voted against that resolution too. And I have an issue with Mr. Dibdall being on the liaison to the fire department, being he's a volunteer fireman.
The litmus test for a conflict of interest in South Dakota is whether, for instance, in the two situations that have been suggested, is that no official may participate in discussing or voting on any issue in which they have a direct pecuniary interest. That means, Kelly, if you're going to benefit from a vote on the volunteer fire department, you're going to benefit financially, you absolutely cannot vote. It's a clear conflict. If Jeremiah somehow benefits from his post in an economic fashion, absolutely shouldn't hold the post and or shouldn't vote on any issue like that. Now, there are also potentially more subtle conflicts, but my legal opinion to the commission as it stands now, based on the issues that are raised, it wouldn't prevent either of you from serving on those as liaisons or those boards. There may be times that you For instance, Commissioner Waldner didn't vote on almost anything DSU. He just made that decision because he was employed by DSU. So there may be times like that. I mean, Kelly, you probably shouldn't be voting on any contracts with Heartland Power.
Right.
Okay? I mean, there are times when all of you may have potential conflicts because it could be construed that you have a financial interest in it.
I don't go for chamber stuff because I sit on the board.
Right, and there are times that you could always, and everyone should always feel free to run those by me, preferably before the meeting. But we can try to deal with it
You're
at the
not
meeting
on
as
the
well.
chamber board anymore.
Yeah, I'm still on. No, I'm on it like
Right.
their board. I wasn't
Oh.
on the chamber either. No, I'm on the board. So because we give them money, I can't vote on that.
Even though you don't have a direct interest.
No, but I actually am a voting member of
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah. You as a board member have an interest in that. That's correct.
So if I submitted the amendment, can I make a motion to approve it as amended?
What I think's on the table now is just a pure motion.
I'd like to make a motion to amend it with said language. Hopefully it made it around the table.
I think that motion, for our poor finance officer, we should probably give her a copy. But that motion actually needs to be read. We need to set
You
it
want me
forth.
to read it?
Well, I think we've got to set it forth what commissioner, what department, and liaisons, yes. And if we want to furnish a copy to Sonia for the minutes, that's fine. But I think it needs to be read aloud or detailed aloud for members of the public and the press.
All right.
Well, and when I say read aloud, I'm looking at,
You just want me to start at the mayor marshal dinner?
No, you're not changing anything there. So.
no, I'm looking at this.
Oh.
This is what I think the motion is.
Oh. All right. Saying the mayor's Marshall Dunner. He's in charge of city attorney, community development, board of health, city engineer, East Dakota Transit, Vermillion Watershed, so 911 board, community center budget, personnel committee, Lake County Water Quality Committee, Madison Community Foundation, First District Association, Madison Area Committee on Persons with Disabilities, and he's an ex officio member of the Water Advisory Committee. Same public safety commissioner is going to be Kelly Dibdahl. He'll be a liaison to the volunteer fire department, on the 911 board, the local emergency planning committee, he'll be on the library board, and the Chamber of Commerce. Public works commissioner will be Jeremiah Corbin. Also oversee solid waste, recycling, parks, park and rec board, an appointed member of the community center board on the planning commission. Utility commissioner Dre Wire will be on the Lake Area Improvement Corporation Board, ex officio member of the Water Advisory Committee and the Electric Advisory Committee. Commissioner Shaw will be Finance. He'll oversee Human Resources Policy, the Airport Board, Sidewalk Committee, and the Business Improvement District Committee.
That's your motion?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Want to take roll call vote?
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Dibdall?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Corbin?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Nay. Item number 2, Justin's on the Zoom. Approve law enforcement grant application, South Dakota Department of Public Safety, speed enforcement.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Hello? Okay, you can?
All right, this is a grant that we have been provided with for about the past 13 years. It is an overtime and equipment 80-20 match with federal government. We use these funds to provide overtime to our officers to work traffic, to cut down on impaired driving, traffic offenses, seatbelt offenses during busy times such as holiday weekends, etc. Like I said, we've been doing this for, I believe, the last 13 years. We have requested a total of $7,050.40 in federal funding with a local match of $1,762.60. 5,000 of that federal request is for overtime, and 2,050 is for a new radar unit. We update our radar units about every 8 to 10 years when they start to show some wear and tear. So the total cost of this project is a little over $8,800. It's something that we've always done and has been handled very well by Officer Ryan Rook for the past few years. So just would like your permission to go ahead and move forward with this. Anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Justin. Do I have a motion to approve law enforcement grant application, South Dakota Department of Public Safety Speed Enforcement?
So moved. Second.
Any further comments or discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. I think we got Jake on the line for item number 3. Authorize the mayor to sign grant application FAA-AIP number 3-46-0029-020-2021, construct South GA apron expansion.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the project we've been working on here for about the last year. We've been through the design bidding process recently, and this is just the grant application that would include the construction, administration, observation, materials testing, FAA project closeout report, and a few other miscellaneous items in order to complete the grant with the FAA. The total grant application request would be $1,121,000, and due to coronavirus this year, sounds like that will be 100% federal funded at this time unless we hear from the FAA. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm open up for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Jake. Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign grant application FAA-AIP number 3-46-0029-020-2021, construct South GA apron expansion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Jake, item number 4, authorize the mayor to sign professional service agreement KLJ-AIP number 3-46-0029-020-2021, construct South GA apron expansion.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this will be the agreement to do the construction observation, administration, materials testing, and FAA project closeout report by KLJ that's required by the FAA to be for full-time construction observation in the amount of $126,590. And then also at the very end of your agenda package, you can see the independent fee estimate that was approved for completion. That's required by the FAA. So TKDA is not actually confirmed to do that for the city. Their independent fee estimate came back at $146,000.
Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign professional service agreement KLJ-AIP number 3-46-0029-020-2021 Construct South GA apron expansion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Public comment.
Nothing.
Announcements. No exec session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Two. Can I get a copy